Welcome to Who Knew. We are fans of the current series of Doctor Who, and here we discuss our likes, dislikes, and insights into the modern regeneration of the show. Subscribe, review, and listen to us on iTunes and Stitcher, or our YouTube channel, youtube.com/WhoKnewPodcast. All our episodes are on whoknewpodcast.com. You can leave comments there, or email us at whoknewpodcast@gmail.com. We also have an Instagram and Twitter account. Tweet at us at whoknewpodcast, and find us on Facebook. Today's episode is The Planet of the Ood, episode 3 of season 4. The Doctor encounters an oodly familiar face when taking Donna on her first trip off-world. This episode is written by Keith Temple, directed by Graham Harper. It originally aired on the 19th of April, 2008, and was watched by 7.5 million viewers. Let's introduce ourselves.
It's Frank.
And it's Kelsey.
Hello, this is Auburn.
Hi, this is Arlene.
I'm just Josh.
This is Brian.
This is Eugene. Mr. Bartle, a businessman who sells the Ood race as servants, watches a new commercial that should increase sales. A group of buyers are on their way, and he tells his PR person, Solana, that they need to move more of the merchandise. He is looking over some reports when his personal Ood, Delta 50, kills him with electricity from his translation orb.
I like that it was short. It opens on the commercial. They don't show you the whole commercial, and then if you just enough of like, oh yeah, the Ood from that other show.
Other episode?
What other episode was
That
that?
other episode, yeah.
Season
2 seasons.
2, Impossible Planet, with Rose, because we had the season with Martha.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
It was the Satan Pit, right?
And
The one-
Impossible
And
Planet.
Impossible.
Planet. The one I can never remember.
No, the one you can never remember.
And you still don't?
There was a fun little dig at consumerism, commercialism with the and we'll show this 3 weeks later, and now for 50 credits.
Less, or, yeah.
Or just 50 credit, or 50 credits
Just
off.
50 credits.
Yeah. So who knows how much they
Yeah,
cost.
just credit.
Yeah.
It's pretty cheap.
Well, to add the Homer Simpson voice is only 5 credits.
Right. So that The Simpsons is still on in 4026. Not surprising.
Are you getting residuals?
Yeah.
No, new episodes.
I don't know really what to say about them.
It
Oh,
just
the
was.
Ood are back. Then you see the red eyes
they're
and going,
deadly.
is the devil back?
Right.
Or did that occur to anybody?
that
'Cause
happen?
It didn't occur to me.
Yes.
I
That
forgot about
happened.
that.
It did.
Red
When they were possessed, it was red.
And did they kill with the spheres? I forget if
They did.
They did.
Yeah,
And
I
same.
think.
and
Or
the
did it zap across the way? Did they have to touch? What year was that? Do we know what year that was?
Also the 42nd century.
I couldn't find any time. No. in the Doctor Who.
In the
Oh,
show
like what
timeline.
year?
Was it
40?
100 years ago? Was it 20 years ago? I couldn't figure out a time frame for it.
Yeah, the Ood in that one could have been later than the Ood in this one.
I saw some reports saying that it was, but I don't see how. Since
No, because this
the ending is different.
Yeah, this
So it
freed
changes
them.
it.
This freed them everywhere. Now people are going to be
That's true.
oodless. This is probably another reference to the fact that David Tennant has trouble saying the oo sound.
Ood platoon on the Oods.
Right. The ood.
It says it's roughly 200 years before this episode. Impossible Planet is 200 years prior to this.
So closer to when they actually first started
Harvesting.
using the Ood as servants, slaves.
So with this code open, we're supposed to think, oh, it's the Ood again, and they're possessed, or they're not
Or
doing.
is Satan back? Or
Up to their Ood tricks.
For Donna's first trip into outer space, the Doctor sets the coordinates to random. They arrive on a very cold planet that houses the Ood operations, the facility that sells the Ood. They watch a spaceship fly overhead and follow it. On their way, the Doctor hears music that Donna can't. They come across an Ood who has been shot, dying in the snow. The music was his song reaching out. As they try to help, he tells them that he is Delta 50 and that the circle must be broken. His eyes turn red and he lunges to attack, but is so weak he collapses and dies.
they do mention that ood earlier, that he got away and they shot him.
Yeah.
And that's the one that killed Mr. Bartle in the open.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
I didn't make that connection.
And now we get proper snow as opposed to ash from something
Yeah.
disintegrating into the
That's a
atmosphere.
good point. I didn't even think of that.
And also, the Doctor sets the coordinates to random,
Yeah.
Oh, he does.
The randomizer.
so he's meant to be here.
And that was also in the classic show. For many years, he couldn't control the TARDIS.
So to have more of like a quantum leap feel,
Yeah.
like what's our mission here? We have to discover it.
Yeah. But then they fixed the randomizer.
But he still never knows where he is.
That's true.
I thought he was in Rome. He still,
Yeah,
they
they
thought
do-
it was in Rome in the last one.
Right.
But he had to be there because he's the one that caused the volcano.
Because the TARDIS always sends him where he
Where
needs, to be.
be.
Needs to go.
No, it needs to go, I said, but then I took my hand away from my face.
Again, I love Donna's joy. So I'm so excited, but
Yeah.
I'm scared, but I don't know the word. I don't know the word. Oh, don't laugh at me.
And the
Again.
doctor kind of lives vicariously through her.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah, he very much is seeing. He's experiencing her joy through new. So he's getting it through new eyes.
I like the design of the planet too. It looks like Roger Dean painting.
It was done well
Yeah.
for most of it.
Most of
There's
it, yeah.
an over the shoulder shot that okay, they're.
I mean, it didn't quite look real, but it looked fantastical.
And I think it looked real enough on the sets at the time, the TV sets. I think now
Oh,
it's a
yeah,
little bit
that's
higher, but I think it looked great,
That's a good point.
especially when it first aired.
I did like how Donna didn't feel that she had to stay and listen to the doctor. She's like, I'm cold. And she goes inside and just comes back out. What did you say? Oh, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's even a joke where, because he's asking her questions and she's responding, and then can you even hear in that? Like, what?
But then she smiles
Smiles.
out.
Yeah,
And it's all
I like
fun.
that.
And she has, of course, her coat because she packed everything, which was great.
She was ready for everything, even a hat planet.
Lizville.
Now, Donna's seen somewhat aliens before, the Rachnos and then the Adipose. This is the first one on an alien planet with one dying in front of her, so she is frazzled by this, but she's, oh yeah, right, it is a being.
Yeah.
And then she does try to communicate with it a little bit overzealously, trying to talk into the translator ball.
Right.
Hello,
And the doctor's,
computer.
no, you don't need to go that far. Just talk to him. And she picks it up really quickly, and she does have that compassion. It's really nice.
And I do like that. Could have been played for comical effect, but she doesn't play it for comical effect.
On Fires of Pompeii, when she just goes in and starts touching things that are dying, I'm like, especially because we don't know yet, but it seems like there could be an infection with the red eye, and who knows what's wrong with the ood yet. But again, she just goes right in there and grabs it.
The doctor is
Yes,
touching the
yeah.
ood as well.
This
so-
wasn't as bad as the
Yeah.
stone skin.
Yeah, I was kind of because it also was like, oh, this one was shot. He didn't have red eye until the very end, and the doctor does pull her back when the red eye appears.
But then she goes in right away after and starts touching this dead.
Yeah.
Ood.
And he does say, "Careful." I don't know if it's in after Delta dies, but he's explaining what the ood is to Donna. And, oh, you've seen him before? Yes, it's a long story. And she's like, well, it's a long walk. And then he's like, all right, it was the devil. And she's like, well, don't make fun of me.
Right.
If this were a new Who viewer, it would go over their heads. But
They're like, he is making fun of her.
yeah,
I like how the doctor goes, I think I owe the ood one. I
Yeah,
want to
like
stay
that.
here and figure this out.
yeah, I couldn't save the ood last
Yeah.
time. Well, that doesn't sound like you. I was busy.
I was
Yeah.
busy.
And he was.
And he was.
Mr. Halpin, the owner, arrives in the ship to take over for the deceased Mr. Bartle. There have been other deaths which they thought were accidents or natural causes, but now realize they are caused by the ood. Something has infected them, and their eyes turn red before they attack. Mr. Halpin is losing his hair because of stress and takes a shot of hair tonic from his ood Sigma.
He's got a Ferrari.
You got a box.
He's got a Ferrari.
So it's not the devil. We're trying to figure out what it is.
No, it's humans. It's worse.
Do we see the one go rabid yet at this point?
Only the footage of 50 killing Bartle. That's all
But
we
we
get.
don't see him frothy and foaming.
Not yet.
And we got to meet Solana, right? Like we heard her voice before.
Yes.
Maybe not, but
Yes.
yes, we got to meet Solana, and at first she's asking questions and trying to learn more about the ood situation,
Like the red eye. She doesn't know about that.
and she's a young lady that doesn't look too bad. So the first time watching this, I'm wondering, like, okay, is this like another like possible companion, or what does her story go? It will go not that way later, but at least in the beginning, she was curious and wanted to know more about the situation.
I don't see it as being as curious because, you get to know the character, and it's more of
Like climbing
signing
up-
up to the boss and trying to, be knowledgeable in the inner circle. She's trying to advance her own status.
I think she kind of represents the society and how they sort of view the ood, because she's not inherently good. She's not inherently evil. She's just doing her job, and she sees the ood as livestock and a product. If you're not the evil boss or the evil soldier or the inquisitive scientist, like, she kind of represents society. So, like, this is how the world sees the ood.
The Doctor and Donna arrive at the complex and join the buyers for the presentation and tour. An alarm goes off and Solana assures them it is just the end of work siren. After they enter the building, a group of guards chase an ood around the grounds and corner him. He has gone mad, and Halpern tells them to bring it to Dr. Ryder for examination. Dr. Ryder says the red eye seems to have escalated to a stage 2, making the ood more aggressive, even rabid. He has no explanation for this, and they go to Warehouse 15 to examine something that has been held there for 200 years. Halpern gives the order to kill the infected Ood as they leave.
Here's where we get the
Right,
rabid
right.
one.
And our first look at the maniacal soldier who's in charge.
Do we know who that guy is?
Yes.
Because
He's
his
Mr.
voice
Over the
is
Top.
very, very familiar.
Well, his name is Roger Griffiths, and he plays Commander Kess. I looked him up. I didn't really recognize anything he's been in, but the one that I did recognize was Batman Begins, and he played one of the Arkham police officers.
I like the one shot. It might have been a little bit earlier than this, but after one of the times that Halpern takes a drink of the hair tonic and checks himself in the mirror. In the mirror, the Ood is right behind him. And the first time watching it, I didn't get it, but on a rewatch, it's a good foreshadowing of what's to come for that character.
I like it.
He asked him about his it looked like his hair's coming back, and he said, what would you know about it?
More than you think.
And it seems like at this point that he's, yes, we know it's hair tonic, but that he's like addicted to it or something because he keeps asking for it.
And this is when they add the different voices to the Ood. So you have that sexy woman voice,
Right,
which is
yeah.
just... I mean, Donna's eye roll was great. Going, really? You're going to add that in? And then it has the Homer Simpson's dope.
Right. I do
Not
think
Homer Simpson, because this isn't a Fox program. We don't know who that is.
Homer Simpson.
That's it, yes.
Voice.
No copyright infringement intended.
I really like the Ood from their original episode, and they were really creepy, and I like how they've kept the creepiness and added these whole other elements to it.
They're also becoming more sympathetic.
Yes. Well, I don't think they were unsympathetic in the original episode, but we just knew that they were turning in some way.
Right.
It's a great, and the way they look, it's a great design. It's a great character to bring back of the new crop, as opposed to here's another Dalek, here's another Cyberman, here's another.
That's it. That's all I got.
Well, and
Bring back an existing
yeah.
character from one of the new
Right.
Who episodes rather than a classic.
Yes.
villain.
Right, and not just brought them back, but brought them back and then made us look at them differently.
Right.
Speaking to that, the writer Temple and Davis thought that the episode was not a fun reappearance of an old monster, and said they felt that it was like an actual story to tell, so that's why they decided to bring back the Ood.
It could have been another creature, but it worked perfectly that they reused them.
Right, that's what I was thinking when I was watching this episode. Was like, I was thinking that whoever created this almost didn't like the perception that the Ood had after Satan's pit, so they're like, oh, let's bring the Ood back, but let's get the audience to love the Ood as much as I love the Ood.
It's just giving a background story to the slavery, and I think it's great.
While Donna was questioning the Ood, I felt like a lot of those questions should have come from the doctor, especially because when he was examining the Ood, he's like, he doesn't even know if he has a heart, and he already, kind of has some regrets about the way that he treated them when we last saw them. So it's just interesting, like, the doctor's knowledge seemed to be very limited on deep into what the Ood were and where they came from, but Donna's there trying to find out, like, did you run wild? Like, how did you get like this? That's kind of cool too for Donna's character, that she's, this is her second trip in the TARDIS and her first time off world, but she's the one kind of instigating the investigation.
Well, also, too, those are usually questions you ask when you first encounter something. Whereas he already encountered it, but he was all distracted by what was going on. So it's something familiar that he's maybe not going to ask more about.
Right.
Because, and it may have been a passing thought back in that older episode, but he had to deal with the problems there. So,
But Donna did the same thing as the other companion at the time, which was Rose. And Rose went up and talked to the person, and that was what Rose did. But Donna does it in a different way. She actually goes up to them and starts trying to figure it out. She says, I want to know what's going on. What is going on with you? Have you ever been free? Are there just running around in the wilderness? Where did you come from? And she's a little more blunt with that.
I feel like the doctor didn't really ask questions about the Ood because this is something common to see slavery amongst alien species. And it's probably like, that's slave, kind of moving on. It's just, I think it was part of the storytelling of how people approach slavery. If it's something that's commonplace, you're not going to look into it. I don't think it's that the doctor didn't care. It's just that's part of the story.
Except at this point, we're not thinking slavery right now. We're thinking servanthood. Because what the Ood have told the doctor up to this point is we are born to serve. So, but I find it interesting, Auburn, that you bring up that it's the doctor who wants to help the Ood, but it's Donna who's asking the questions. Having you bring that up is interesting because then I'm thinking, why wasn't the doctor asking the Ood these questions? And I think it's also my answer to that, then he assumes that he already knows everything there is to know about the Ood.
And nothing prompted him to think about if they had it hard and all this before. Whereas now,
Yeah,
it's
which
coming
doesn't
up, but-
sit very well with me. It's almost like he almost looks embarrassed that Donna's asking, like, are there free Ood running around like wildebeest? I don't know.
Because at this point, the doctor hasn't wanted to help the Ood. It's not that he's blind, I think, to the slavery. And I think because once he finds out, he takes action. But I think it's just he doesn't see that as being an issue.
Oh,
He's
it's
saying
the
in this
red
period
eye.
of time and what's going on, that's just standard.
Which makes it blind to servanthood. That's why Donna's asking, because she's like, oh, servant, slave, kind of the
Yeah.
same thing. The doctor's like, oh, servanthood, that's what they do.
Yeah. It's new to her. It's not new to him. It's been happening.
Yeah.
He's known about it for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years.
See, I don't see it that way. I think that the doctor has only ever seen the Ood once before.
Yeah, but the
Right.
idea of servanthood is what I was just saying.
Yeah, but it's also like, and we haven't gotten to it yet in the summary, but when Donna goes up to ask the questions, it's not like the doctor isn't doing anything. He's doing something else.
Yeah.
He's looking up the computer records. He's finding out where they are. He's finding out what time period. He's getting the lay of the land. But in
Yeah.
the discussion, it just kind of seems like the doctor hasn't done anything. Well, the doctor did something when Donna was standing next to him, and now Donna's doing something while the doctor stands next to her. I don't see it as, why isn't the doctor asking these questions? It's like, because Donna got to it first.
Yeah, I think it's effective writing. He's doing something while she's asking the question. It's like they're a team. They're more of a team.
They're a team. That's exactly how
And maybe that's why it's standing out to you guys more, because in the past he seemed like he was leading the charge. And
Like Rose tries to find a common ground
Yeah.
because, I worked in the cafeteria once. And,
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah,
I-
Donna's seeing a bigger picture.
And Donna's, but that the doctor doesn't see it is
Yeah.
what I think we're having our discussion about. And why doesn't he see that these
he's-
people are enslaved? He knows that they're servants and that they're, born to serve type of thing, but he doesn't give that a second thought.
I think they're writing the Doctor and Donna kind of as one, just two different pieces of it. So he's doing this and she's doing that, but it's sort of the same thing. They're a little bit more on the same level.
And their personalities are more similar. And it's not like, oh, this is the feminine way of doing this.
Right,
And this is
right.
the masculine way of doing it. It's more like, this is how we do it.
At the presentation, the doctor hacks into a computer and shows Donna a map of the Ood distribution centers across the 3 galaxies humans now inhabit. Donna questions an Ood about being free. He begins to talk about the circle when he is interrupted by Solana, who is gathering the buyers together. The doctor and Donna decide to explore on their own. Outside, they see Mr. Halpin and Dr. Ryder go into Warehouse 15. They also see a large amount of Ood being treated as slaves and one whipped when he falls from exhaustion. Solana contacts Halpin and informs him that the doctor and Donna did not pass a background check and are missing.
I like how the Doctor, as soon as he heard the Ood say circle, which was what the dying Ood said, he started questioning him, but then they got taken away. So they're all on top of it, like he's listening. And because I hate it when a main character doesn't pick up on something, whereas he picked up on it, but he couldn't story-wise continue at this moment, and so they have a story point to whisk them away and go on to this other thing.
I like when they're looking at the map and he says, oh, it's the second great and bountiful human empire, which is a callback to
first season, right?
First season, yeah. Eccleston took them to the 4th great and bountiful human empire, and that was Satellite 5 and
With
Jag
Adam.
Effects.
With Adam, your favorite.
Yes, with Adam. Took Adam to the 4th, I like how Donna is saying, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Is it, are humans spreading out, or are we a virus?
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, the bees are disappearing.
Right. Yeah, what's going on with the bees?
I know they throw that out with the global warming and all that. So it's, again, one of those ideas tossed out because that's what was topical at the time. Planet will collapse. And that's what Donna was talking about.
We're only going to have regular Cheerios.
Because no bees, it doesn't get pollinated. Then all the animals will die because the plants are dead. And then we die because the animals and plants are dead. But it's like, no, we make it out. We're out there in the different galaxies.
Yeah, so it's very optimistic and pessimistic at the exact same time, and Donna doesn't know how to feel about it.
That projection on the screen, I really like that. The map of the galaxy, it's a projection rather than a blue screen composite.
Is it really?
Yeah, they
Wow.
talk about it in the commentary, and I think that works.
So it was
really
live?
Wow.
Yeah. It reminded me so much of Star Trek, The Next Generation. The same kind of pedestal that just comes up and on a weird angle, and then the view screen. It's just, wow, this is very Star Trek to me.
Yeah, I mean, not only did the projection look good, but the way the doctor was typing on the keypad, or not keypad, but like tablet, instead of, you see people when they act typing, they over type. I felt like he was properly typing to get the information he needed.
Did they use the same effect in the offices with like the ood in the background?
that
Because
looked
I
like a
like
TV
those
screen.
too. Yeah, but it was big. It was probably
Plasma.
projection. And even the ood, like the artwork of
The Andy Warhol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was fun.
I did notice that.
Yeah.
They went to Warehouse 13.
15.
Sorry, that TV show stuck in my head.
I think of it every time.
Halpern and Ryder go to Warehouse 15, and Sigma, his ood is also with them. They're just checking on everything to see if whatever they have there, because they're not showing us yet, is okay. And when he walks in, Halpern asks, "Is it me or does it feel like it's looking at you?" And I thought that was just a silly line, but now it's like, oh, it's a little foreshadowing.
I think it's I think you're right. Watching it fresh, I would have thought it was foreshadowing something you think is nothing. It ends up being something.
And that's why it's good on repeat viewings.
Yes. I do like the whole history part of when, is it Halpern or Halpin?
Halpin.
Sorry.
Halpin talks about how I haven't been here since I was 6 years old when my father brought me here, and he still remembers the stench and all that stuff. There's little touches like that make it
It's a family
relatable.
company.
It's a family company. It makes these crazy things seem plausible because you can relate to things in them.
The Doctor and Donna enter a warehouse with storage compartments
Storage compartments.
full of ood ready for shipping. They open one of the containers, and Donna asks them why they don't leave and be free. They do not understand that concept. She notices that their translator balls are synthetic and wonders why they have to be wired in. The Doctor asks them about the circle, and all answer in unison that the circle must be broken so they can sing. The guards find them, capture Donna, and place her in a container with the ood. After they capture the Doctor, they let her out, but the ood are now infected with red eye, and they attack the guards. The Doctor and Donna make their escape with Solana.
Back to what Frank was saying for season 3, this scene feels like it's a kid's episode. This is like a claw from an arcade game.
Claw.
Yeah, the claw did not work for me. That was way out of...
And the
It
guy's
did-
like, I always wanted to do this.
That
Yeah,
guy,
sure you did.
That guy was
100%
Adam-worthy.
committed.
Yeah, he was way over the top. I didn't mind the claw. What I minded is how sentient it seemed. It didn't obey the laws of physics the way a claw would. It just was very cartoony.
I agree.
It took me totally out.
Yeah.
This is just so
I
fake.
wouldn't be surprised if a lot of those containers were not real. That they had one or two.
The set
with,
extensions.
with computer animation, sets and stuff.
But it
It's
looked
just-
really good.
It's just, it did look really good. It's just a box. It's
A bunch of
easier-
blue boxes.
Yes. There you go.
Bigger on the outside?
Do we know? Did they like the little symbol for the company, which is those two circles? It looked like it had little.
Broken glasses kind of thing.
Yeah,
I thought it was, I was trying to figure it out, and I just settled for its
maybe-
ood operations.
Oh, maybe, and maybe those things coming off it were the
Just,
things.
it was just
the
stylized.
translator balls.
I don't know.
right.
Oh, that could be.
That could be.
Maybe
Yeah.
It's never
or
explained.
tentacles.
Yeah, it's never
Nothing.
explained.
But
could have been
but it was ood operate. Okay.
I mean, it's never mentioned, but that's how I
yeah, I was just
rationalize
wondering
it.
if maybe I missed it because it seemed like something that someone made a point to design it. Where they were like, "Hey, I came up with this really great acronym logo." Like, yeah, all right, I'll put. Oh, okay, well, I guess so. Oh, see, I put the logo on all the boxes. Yeah, it's great, George.
Sorry, George.
George, we got to let you go.
Yeah, we got you. But I designed the ood logo. We know.
And George was gone.
Yeah.
Solana just seemed to show up. Now, she stopped him from, getting the Doctor with the claw, saying, no, he wants him alive, stop it. But I guess where she was positioned in the blocking, she was behind a lot of the guards.
Yeah.
So she's in that shot, but you don't see her down when they let Donna out of the container, and then the You'd start attacking. And so they're all running, and you don't really see her run off with them unless you're really looking for
Right.
it. But she is there, because later on she just is with Donna and the Doctor. It's like, where did she come from again?
I think there's a lot of staging issues that happen in some of the shows that have more action, like we were talking about last time with Donna moving her head before her face got actually her hand over her mouth and things. And I will say, as silly as the claw chase was, I'm always for more running, so which I like.
But this one seemed at this point to go that Solana's with them. So it's like, oh, she is going to be that. Is she,
Right.
companion material? Is she going to be on their side?
Is she gonna switch over and tell them some piece of information that only she would know?
But one thing I thought was interesting was, Donna's just so abhorrent of slave labor and hates that. And it's like, these people are slaves, opens the door to try and free them. And said, why aren't you guys leaving? But at that point, the doctor says, well, it's not very different on your planet. It's not very different on Earth. And where are your clothes coming from? And then she goes, don't take the cheap shots. Just don't try and be all high and mighty on this point. This is something that's different. We're seeing it right here. But that, I think, goes back to what we were discussing a little while ago with Arlene, that the doctor says it's commonplace. Same thing that's happening on Earth. We're seeing it. We know it. There are companies that are making lots of money selling clothes that we're wearing from places that are not making any money actually manufacturing it. So we are become complacent in this. And so that's kind of similar to what Arlene was saying, I think, if I'm getting it right, about what the doctor was. It's like he knows enough about the Ood that they're the servant race. That's what they are. So he doesn't really think at that point that much into it until he learns more about the slavery.
I think they're pointing out the hypocrisy, but not really taking a stance on it. It's not trying to, doesn't have an agenda. Like, we made this episode with the Ood so you would think about the clothes you're wearing. I think it's just gave them the idea, and it's all sort of the same, just like you're saying. But what I like about this episode is it's not overly preachy. It's just more about this thing that's happening.
Yeah, it's not bonk bonk on the head, but it is,
because,
think about it.
Yeah, because then she says, oh, don't get all high and mighty. So obviously the same writer wrote both sides.
Donna chastises Solana about her part in this, but Solana says everyone knows and no one cares. The doctor wants to know what they do to the Ood to make them subservient. She doesn't know but tells them Dr. Ryder would. They ask her to help them, but she calls the guards instead and phones Halpin, telling him that the doctor and Donna are on their way. A guard tells Halpin that there are over 2,000 Ood now infected, and he replies that they need to destroy them all.
Yeah, this is what we were talking about before, where Solana makes the choice to
not help
and turn them in, tattletale, whatever you want to call it. But again, it's like, these people this is my job, this is my life. These people just came in. I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
They're just Ood. They're just, so she's not doing, and she doesn't look happy about it. She doesn't look maniacal in any way. So it to me, it just seems like she's just trying to survive, which is kind of the point of the episode's agenda, is that, like, this just, it all makes sense. There really is no bad guy except for Halpin.
I can't stand her.
I'm not saying I like her. I'm not saying I like her. I think she's wrong to make that decision. I just think that's where the writing of her character is coming from.
And because of you, in a different episode that we just reviewed, you had mentioned that they make somebody do something bad so that we don't like them as much. So if something does happen to them, we're okay with it. And I think that was the moment for her at this point to choose which side. She can go with the Doctor and Donna. She can do something because she knows what's going on. She can do something to try and help.
Well, I just usually, the difference I found with this character was, usually when someone does something like that, they seem very callous or superficial or jerky. This gal just seems scared in her acting.
Yeah, but I didn't get to the scared part.
So you felt that she was, like, scheming?
No, just she had a choice to make, and it's like, I don't know or care about the Ood.
Right.
No one does.
Right.
Why is it my responsibility to care when no one else cares?
Right.
So we're actually something that's slightly different.
As opposed to the woman in the adipose episode in the very beginning, who seemed, she says something mean about someone. She seems shallow, or someone. That's my only point. Is that her demeanor was more neutral.
I don't see her as neutral at all, because the first time we see her, she's a PR person and she's lying about what alarms mean. She's trying to get people, she's lying to them because she's in PR, and that's what PR people do. So I instantly despised her from the beginning. And when she chose not to go with the doctor, it was like, yeah, because she's a horrible person. And it is one of the most satisfying deaths when she finally gets hers.
Yeah, I think she's the representation of corporation. Like, she's man. She's the man. And she may seem like, she's just doing her job. She's doing what she's supposed to do. But it's still, again, going to that, there's the people when there's slavery. Well, it doesn't affect me. Then why should I care? So as long as it's not affecting them, it's not important. So what would affect her would be if she lost her job. And she doesn't want to do that.
I think she's actually worse than Halpin. Halpin is the mustache twirling villain in this. He's very, very cardboard, which is great. That's what his character is there to serve. But she's the indifferent one, and and every time she gets hers, I just feel so good. It's like, you had a chance, and it's like, you're a horrible person, and you had a chance to redeem yourself, and you didn't. So die.
So interesting to see it now, like within our context, like our world context right now, of the people. Well, racism doesn't exist because
Right.
they've never seen it.
Yes, exactly.
Prejudice doesn't exist because they don't feel it. So it's just that kind of situation that's being portrayed in that.
But what I do like about this scene is the doctor's character comes through and he gives her a chance.
Yes.
And he tries to, get her to do the right thing and to turn for the good, but it doesn't work. But I do like the fact that the doctor does try.
Yeah.
As opposed to, oh man, what was the episode where he said, you knew it was happening, but you did nothing about it. You followed your orders, so you're dead to me. I can't remember what episode that was. Bad Wolf.
Oh, yeah. The doctor hears the oud song and enters another warehouse. There, he and Donna find a group of unprocessed oud cowering in a cell. Donna can't hear the song, so the doctor links her psychically. It overwhelms her with sadness, and she begs the doctor to stop. After the connection is broken, she regrets not being able to handle the pain of it. They tell the oud that Dr. Donna are friends and see that these oud haven't had translators attached yet. What they hold in their hands instead is what was there originally, a secondary exterior brain. It processes emotions and memories until the humans cut it off and replace it with a translator. They were the ultimate example of a peaceful race.
Yeah, this was heavy.
This is very heavy.
Very. There's that word again. Gravity
I like the slow reveal, like they're cowering, but you think it's fear. Then when it's slowly revealed, it's like more of protecting. Like they're protecting themselves because that's their emotion, their brain.
But it is fear.
I know,
Yeah.
but I'm saying it's both. You can take it one way sometimes.
It's not
the
just
other
that
way.
they're cowering,
Yeah.
it's that they're protecting that part of their...
It's like layered.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
first see it one way, and then when you see what it actually is,
And when he
there's another weight to it.
When he explains, is he explained in this moment where, like, that they have to be peaceful? Oh, it's when he's yelling at them later.
Yeah, Donna does it.
I tell you, anytime there's any sort of sci-fi hocus pocus, like the mind meld and this, that, and the other, and a water pistol or even the screwdriver, David Tennant really sells it. He just always, sells it 120%.
Yeah.
So it's always believable to me.
Well, I was thinking of this scene when you guys were talking about the doctor earlier in the episode, with the notion of slavery, servitude, and just being accepting of how much does the doctor know. Because this scene, it sees that these creatures are being mutilated. Whereas,
Right.
I mean, it's clear, they're literally lobotomizing it.
Right.
And he is so angry.
Right. Because up till then, it was just their servants. That's, what's the difference?
Yeah. And so, he doesn't, the doctor does not know that they have a brain that is removed. And once he finds that out, he is so angry. Donna says, "Oh, I hear them. They're coming. They're coming. They're coming." And the doctor doesn't care. The doctor's like, "Let them come," because we're going to. He's like, I'm so angry right now. I don't care. I'm going to take these people on, and they're going to lose.
It's funny too, because that's the big turn of his arc in the episode. It went from like, that's not as important as whatever's going on here. He was looking at the same thing, the servitude of the ouds as not a big deal. And now with that one thing, the servitude of the ouds is the most important deal because of why it is. Because of how they became servants.
Normally, the doctor is the omniscient character. I guess I'm kind of viewing this as the doctor is more like us, the viewer, watching this for the first time. This is all new to him. I'm not looking at doctor as, well, he knows exactly what the oud are. He knows where the oud come from. He knows the oud are born this way. That this is all new. So he is slowly turning in the episode, but this is the major revelation.
Right. This is where it gets emotional. Before it was inquisitive and curious.
And we know that the oud is new for the doctor because that's set up in the Impossible Planet. Yeah, that's set up in the Impossible Planet because when they first encounter the oud, he has no idea who they are.
Right.
So you're right, Brian. His whole understanding of the oud is what we know. Is what he knows.
We're
He
going
knows
along
what
with
we
the viewer.
know.
But now to ruin the episode, because all of a sudden Barty Crouch Jr. shows up. Because
I know, right?
Yes, I think Tennant oversold it. I think he went too far in the acting on that one, where it just came comical and came right back to me about Harry Potter. And there's the mad-eyed
What's
crazy
the
man
overlap?
who licks his lips.
What's the overlap in those productions? When was he filming Harry Potter?
Oh, way earlier. Is this when he's
anger
behind the cell
behind
yelling at them?
cells.
Okay,
Right.
good,
So
because the let them
scene
is
just-
great.
Yeah, that was fine. It's just when he's behind the bars, it just went way over the top for me.
That's true.
I didn't like the Song of Captivity that much. I thought it was fine musically, but I didn't get the feeling
No, I didn't either.
of the sadness and oppression.
God.
I got it from Donna. I got it from her acting and her eyes and her face. Ouch.
Yes, that's how I got it too.
Yeah, but she did great. But I'm thinking the music,
music in and of itself.
didn't go along with it in
you
that
have to
feeling.
pair it with Donna's reaction, and that's why Donna is one of my favorite companions. Her reactions are just sell these episodes, like Fires of Pompeii, or what's the
Right.
name of the
Yeah.
episode? Fires of Pompeii. The last 10 minutes of that episode rides on Donna. The whole, just her reacting to everything that's happening. Those last 10 minutes, I go down as my favorite 10 minutes in the Doctor Who canon. That is Catherine Tate, what she brings to the character of Donna. That is just so good. And so, yeah, the song, you have to pair it with Donna's reaction
And I'm saying if you
for it
don't,
to sell.
just the song didn't do it for me. I don't know. I think they write a lot of other music well. This one just didn't get me. This one
Funny,
didn't get it.
because this song actually got me, and a lot of the other songs don't get me. So like the tune was eerie, and it was close to off pitch, which
Yeah.
was great, which makes you feel uncomfortable. And it's just that key it's in that's what makes it solemn and sad. So that's what I really like. It's like pushing the key, it's pushing the pitch, and you're like, ooh, eerie, sadness, lonely group that's creating this. And then as a little jumping the timeline a little bit, but when it changes, it's the same song, but full and in the right key. So that's what I like about it.
Okay. No, I like, that's what I like about this podcast and us all getting together. To hear that, it's like, okay, it works.
Yes, I like it too, because
for her.
Arlene is right.
And no, it's not right or wrong. It's how we take it. But
I'm
we
going
all
to pay for that.
Oh, yeah, you are.
Music is
But
subjective.
we all
that's-
agreed, at least on Donna's,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Catherine
think-
Tate's acting.
And not to jump the timeline, but the happy song has the greater impact than
Yes,
the sad song.
I agree
The
with
Song
that.
of Freedom.
Yes.
And that's why I think what Arlene said makes the two songs go together, because you feel the emptiness of the first half, and then you feel the fullness of the second half. So I think having them both together makes the latter better. And so that's why I don't have a problem with it like you do. But I'm not disagreeing with you.
It's not really a problem. It's just,
It just didn't hit us
like,
as hard
oh.
as it musically. That's all.
and now I'm
It's
going
'cause
to
you
listen to it
weren't
after.
And that's been our music moment with Josh and Frank.
You weren't there. You didn't hear it from them.
The more you know.
Halpin captures the Doctor and Donna and says the Ood are like cattle and never even put up a fight. They are fine with being slaves. The Doctor says the Ood are peaceful, so something is affecting the Ood and causing the red eye. Halpin says it won't be affecting anything for much longer and goes to Warehouse 15, leaving the Doctor and Donna handcuffed. The unprocessed Ood send out a psychic message to the other Ood, whose eyes turn red and they start killing the buyers and the guards. Some of those Ood come upon the Doctor and Donna, but are stopped from killing them by another message from the unprocessed that these two are friends, and they release them.
Friends, not food.
It kind of reminds me of when the Doctor goes, "Go to your room." Just saying the whole idea of, I'm going to try whatever I can just for it to save me at this moment.
Yeah.
The Doctor keeps repeating, Dr. Donna, friends, Dr. Donna, friends. And Donna keeps repeating, the circle must be broken, the circle must be broken. So they are repeating different things. So that was great to get both of those
It's great that they're
together
both-
as one thought.
And they're both on the same page. They're both thinking the same thing.
Yeah. They're like, we have to say something, but you're saying that thing, so I'll say something else because it's not working.
And I think there was a direction or just an interpretation by the actor who was one of the buyers, is that there's food and drink, but there's no alcohol there. And he was acting drunk. At least that's how I picked it.
You're
Going,
right. He
Someone
was
didn't tell him
acting
that
drunk.
the drinks are
was.
not alcoholic.
Because he says it's a free bar. Why would we leave now?
That's
Right.
right, and they said
you're
there's
right.
no alcohol
No
on the
alcohol.
planet.
So I'm glad he died, that faker.
There's another commentary on present day because he says, Halpin says it's kill the livestock. It's hoof and mouth disease. That's what they used to do in the old days. And Britain had just had the mad cow scare, where they just slaughtered their entire livestock over the entire country, and the country was quarantined for a while.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And this is where Donna introduces, I think would be the best word, that the Ood have to be completely peaceful if they have their brain outside, and they have to trust people. The doctor just looks at her. Oh, that was a good deduction. I like that.
And it is a really good one, but how could a species evolve like that?
Oh,
but
they couldn't. Same way that
it's a good episode.
Satan has horns like that.
Well, I'm thinking this Ood sphere is their actual home planet.
It is.
So
Yeah.
there may not be any
Predators
on this.
Oh, I know. But even so, there's a part of me that's just like, wow, that brain is just out there and you have to hold it the whole time.
And it could be like when we saw or when we will see the transformation, that comes last. So it could be when they're young, it's internal, and then puberty is when it comes out.
Yeah, maybe they're always amputated before they evolve, before they mature.
Maybe.
I also wondered why there are no female Ood, and then it dawned on me that they have the breeding facilities. And they,
and we don't need to see that.
that's
Or
right.
there are no females.
Yeah, I
come from
figured they were
eggs.
asexual or whatever you call it.
So this is where Solana dies.
Speaking of happy
Oh,
thoughts.
this is where she died. She died a little bit ago.
Well, let's just celebrate her death. That's all that matters.
Sing a song of what?
Sixpence? No, I don't know. Do you know where we have seen Solana before? She's played by Aisha Darker. She was Queen Jamila in episode 2 of Star Wars, Attack of the Clones.
Oh, yeah, she is. Yeah.
But
Oh,
So Queen Amidala is not queen anymore. She's senator.
Oh.
Then there's a new queen.
Okay. She's all done up in the white makeup.
Yeah.
and the voice of the Ood is also the voice from the first trilogy.
Silas Carson.
You mean the Wizard of Oz guy?
No, he's
He's in the prequels.
yes, Phantom Menace, the voice of
Oh,
the Trade Federation.
Nut Gunray and
Oh, he did voice acting for those characters.
those guys.
So he was the racist voice?
Let's redo this
I
again.
can't remember anything from those episodes. So
It only
so
popped
he
in
was
my
the
head when
racist.
you were saying that she's in Star Wars. It's like, oh, wait, he was too. He was the voice Gunray. And all that.
They all got paid. That's not important.
Queen Amidala.
Yeah.
You grace us again with your presence.
Send the
you
droideka
don't
down.
remember. Yeah.
I'm not.
It's
This
good
is
that
not
you
a
don't
racist
remember.
voice at all.
We can cut that whole thing. That's fine.
he's gonna keep it.
Sarai. All right, we need to move on.
In Warehouse 15, Halpin and Ryder plant explosives around a huge brain that is encircled by an energy barrier. Doctor and Donna arrive and see that it is the third part of the Ood mind. It was captured 200 years ago when the Ood were first enslaved. A group called the Friends of the Ood have been trying to stop all this, and Ryder is a part of it. Ryder confesses he was unable to release the brain, but he turned down the barrier enough to allow the brain to cause the red eye and fight for itself. Halpin throws him over the balcony to be engulfed by the brain.
That was sad. I guess that guy got killed for doing something good.
Yeah, that guy is Dr. Ryder, played by Adrian Rollins, who we've seen as James Potter in the Harry Potter films.
Never would have gotten that. That's Harry Potter's dad.
Earlier, I thought it was interesting that Halpin kept going, what's changed? What's changed? And it's because the doctor's there. Not our doctor, but Dr. Ryder. That's like,
yeah.
oh, wow, that was a cute little twist. What's changed? The doctor. Not that one.
It didn't make sense how he was swallowed by the brain.
No, it didn't. And the brain is fine.
Yeah.
He would have bounced off like those big boom and be right back up there with him. And then he decks Halpin.
Sorry.
Oh, man. The brain, though. I'm glad this is the first time we see the giant brain. Because, I mean, if they would have shown that at the beginning, it would have been really silly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because just the
Little
giant
Jaws
brain
reveal.
is silly.
And I guess the way they said it, they found it underground or this, that, or the other makes a little sense. But, like, if you're thinking creature-wise, I had a little harder time buying that than the vestigial brains that they were holding. Like, just, it had no other body part sustaining it was a little much, but whatever.
Well, we don't know what they cut away.
Underneath the earth, there's this huge
Yeah, right.
thing
This is
standing
like,
up.
like the Easter Island.
This
Statues.
is just- they uncovered that part
Right,
of the
right.
brain. But they picked falling into the brain because somebody had this idea.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be cool if?
Yeah.
And somehow we have to make it work.
Yeah.
Speaking of Halpin, before we get to what happens to him, backing up a little bit before, he shows a little kindness to Ood Sigma. And I thought that was very bizarre.
When he apologized to him?
Yeah, he goes, "You've been faithful to the last.
Right.
Go with your kind before it's too late," or
Oh,
something.
I thought you were talking about the doctor. Never mind.
No, Ood
Sorry,
Sigma.
Halpin. Oh. Yeah, well, yeah, but he said, I don't know if that was kindness, though, because all the Ood were getting shot. So
But
it was more
see-
like, go be with your kind
Right.
and die.
Because he's saying that we're going to get rid of all of you. We're going to kill the livestock. So
Yeah.
be with your kind in their last moments. That's how I took it.
Yeah, that's how I take it too.
I took it differently.
That's fine. We've been doing that all
I know,
episode.
but it's me because I take things always differently. It seems. I thought he was, setting them free since they're on the Ood planet. Mm-hmm. It's like all the infected are here. Don't get infected. Go with your kind, who are the ones that we.
That are escaping? Go with your kind that are
Pro-
escaping?
No,
No, the ones that
out.
are unprocessed that we still have to do. It's like
man.
go back to them.
I never thought of that.
I never thought of it, but I think you're right. But still,
Halpin knows
they're
that
all
he's going to blow up the brain.
Yeah, they're all going to be.
Right, so they're all going to die, but be with the ones.
That's what we
This
said.
last moment.
Yeah,
As
that's
opposed
Yeah, but
what-
he's like,
As
I thought he was like, no, go and actually be with some of the free ones for now. This is going to blow up all
Yeah.
up. But it just seemed like, well, the infected are all going to die, so just go die with the infected.
No, that's how I took it.
The interpretation
Eugene
is
and
a little
Brian
different.
took it the same way you took it.
I think it's both. I think he thinks he's being
Oh, never
nice. He thinks he's being kind, but he's really just being dismissive. And
I like to err on the side of optimism in this. That's all.
But then he comes back.
I think in the moment, I mean, I took it as that he was, because he had grown up in the company and around Ood, that he did have some loyalty to this Ood in particular.
that's why he didn't just shoot him right then and there.
Right. But the same kind of loyalty like that a slave owner might have to like a favored house slave, like not real
Oh, yeah,
like
totally.
compassion, but
Right. And that's
Like-
what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is like, yeah, I get that he was saying, in your dying moments, be with your own kind. But in my opinion, like, that's not kind. You can't call that
Yeah.
kindness. I mean, you can, but I won't agree with you.
I don't think any of us agrees that it was anything
Yeah,
really
stop being
noble
so-
or going to change who this person is.
It just felt odd in that moment because he's been so one way. Not to have him do this thing, it felt
It's
weird.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I have a totally different opinion. It's just because of where his brain is going to. That's why he's reacting this way.
Clumps of hair fall from Halpin's head, and Sigma offers him more tonic. The doctor realizes that it really isn't for hair, but contains an Ood graft compound that has been slowly turning Halpin into an Ood. Halpin tears off his face and then spits out his secondary brain into his hands, becoming completely Ood. The doctor comments that this is another part of the Ood's revenge, but Donna is upset. Since traveling with him, Donna doesn't know what is right or wrong anymore. The doctor disarms the explosives and then shuts down the energy barrier. The Ood begin to sing a song of freedom, a song even Donna can now hear. The Ood and the guards around the complex stop fighting. The song is connecting all the Ood over the 3 galaxies, and the Ood are coming home.
Well, this is the part that
Okay.
Sigma comes back. And he goes, "Oh, you're loyal." And Sigma says, "Yeah, my place is by your side." And it's not loyalty. It's like, and then you find out, oh, you've been poisoning him. And that's where your job is to convert him over to be part of the Ood.
I like how the doctor says this is the this is the third part of the Ood's way of handling the situation. So the red eye is their revenge, the rabid is their anger coming out, and then Ood Sigma is their patience.
And then Halpin's transformation reminded me a lot of Dr. Constantine in The Empty Child.
Yeah.
Where you see him turn into a gas mask. And then this one is just more graphic.
Well, they couldn't do the hands, so all of a sudden he's now wearing gloves.
Yeah.
Was he?
Yes.
What do you mean they couldn't do the hands?
Leather gloves.
Well, all the Ood have gloves. 'Cause
Right.
They didn't know at the time how to do the hands, what kind of hands they wanted, or either that or because of,
Budgetary.
budgetary, whatever. But the Oods didn't have hands, they had gloved hands.
Yeah.
So they did have Halpin.
Halpin.
I keep
Did
putting
he
the R
really
in
have
there.
gloves on when he raised his hands?
Yeah.
I didn't know
They all
that.
have gloves.
Once
They all have
they
gloves.
come
Once he's
in,
an Ood, he's got
like,
gloves.
oh, I can use the containers to do other shipping things and not deal with the livestock.
Oh,
I
he
can
put
still
gloves
make
on earlier.
Money,
Yes.
Right.
Oh.
It's like I can still make money at this company by selling,
He'll
I
still be
felt
wearing
like
the
him
gloves.
Right.
peeling the
Oh,
back of his head
that's
off
smart
was,
of them.
was
I
for
didn't even notice.
gross out reasons, not like transformation reasons.
Well, and that's how I took it, and I'm fine
Yeah.
with it. But also, the glove thing happens with other episodes with the cat nuns and the cat guy in the gridlock episode, they all have gloves because all the prosthetics is just on the face, so they don't spend the money on the hands.
And the human Dalek in Manhattan.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
That one had hands because they had.
No, he put gloves on when he was like.
Yeah, but then they had it.
Oh, then he took him off.
Oh,
yeah,
you're
took
right.
him off.
You're right.
Because they had the money for that one, which is bizarre.
That's
I,
And they should have kept the gloves.
watching this, rewatching this the other night with Auburn, I'd forgotten about this in the episode that they turn him into an ood, and as he's transforming, he transforms, and I said to Auburn, they turn him into an ood, and then Donna says the exact same thing. I just thought it was so funny. I was like, "Yep, that was my reaction to Donna." Yep, on the same page with that one.
But and I think it's poetic justice is the idea of the that it happened at all. Do we think that that Sigma was in cahoots with the other scientists, or would they have totally separate agendas that happened to?
I took it as separate.
Because the other side, the scientists turned down the field, which then Sigma was starting to get
Get his own ideas. So maybe the scientist
Yeah.
was just like, "This will help."
Yeah.
Well, Ryder just turned that down in this episode. So
Oh, I
the
thought
brain
it
has
was
been trying
5
to.
years ago.
No, because he hadn't seen the brain before this.
Oh,
Because
In
he
the
wasn't.
episode, he's like, I need to see what's in Warehouse 15 so that I can help with what's going on with the Red Eye.
Oh, okay, all right.
That's
So-
why the red eye went so bad.
Okay.
So it was leaking out a little because the brain, after 200 years, finally was trying to get some connection.
Gotcha. So Sigma's been doing this for a while.
Yes. The
Well,
brain.
he said his hair started falling out 5 years ago.
5 years ago, right?
And Halpin has the gun and he's holding it on the Doctor and Donna, and Sigma comes in between the two. And, he's like, take a tonic, take a tonic, take a tonic. What I really like is, there's one back and forth. When they cut back the second time, the Doctor reaches out and puts his hand on Sigma because it's the Doctor's like, if this guy shoots, I'm pulling you out of the way. So the Doctor, there's just a little subtle indication that you're not going to take the bullet for us. And I like that. I think that's very, very Doctorish.
Didn't even notice.
Now, to something that I don't like is when they put the explosives on the catwalk. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
How's that going to do
this
anything?
railing clean off.
Take that, OSHA. I'm like, it makes no sense. Like, how are you going to destroy the brain?
Yeah. There's a lot. I like this episode a lot, but there's a lot of things in here that are just kind of juvenile logic visually.
Maybe like the whole building.
That's the whole
would
building is going to go
collapse?
up.
yeah.
But still, like,
Well,
you-
that's a load-bearing railing.
oh, that's what it. Okay, I'm fine with it now.
Yeah.
Thanks,
It
Josh.
was the grandfather's plan to begin with. That's where they go.
You're like, is this going to be okay? Is that right?
It's like the Death Star. It's like the Death Star has the that chute, the torpedo,
Yeah.
photon torpedoes. This was the railing.
You're getting your franchises mixed up.
We have to mention Star Trek at least once. So.
Why
But that was Star Wars.
Yeah, the Star Wars.
Oh, whatever. Oh man, no, I mentioned Star Trek.
The circle is now complete.
Or broken.
Or broken.
I like that Donna says that she doesn't know what's right or wrong anymore.
Right, I like
That's
that.
one
nice.
thing that as you travel and you go to other countries and you experience their lives, the whole mysticism goes away, but you're like, well, what I thought isn't exactly right, and you get a better idea that there's so much more gray area than a black and white right or wrong.
Well, I like how that pays off what she said earlier in the episode that that she wanted to go home because I don't like this anymore. I thought it was going to be wonderful, but it's not. It's not all black and white like you just said.
The Ood ask if Dr. Donna want to stay and join in the song, but the Doctor says he must go. The Ood tell him his song is almost over, but they will never forget what he did for the Ood kind.
And here we get the other part of that song, the Song of Freedom, which is one of my favorite pieces of music from this season of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I love this piece.
And I was talking to Alburn on the way here that it seems like familiar, like he sampled it from something else, but yet I don't know what. And I think it's just arranged in such a way that is pleasing to the ear. That's all. That's all I can think of.
Not only pleasing, but inspirational.
It's interesting too because it's right around the same time where they kind of give him a bit of a foreboding warning about his future. Yeah, that your song must end.
Yeah, and now I see the Ood completely differently. Now I like them.
They're
still
peaceful.
They're peaceful.
They're a peaceful,
creatures.
loving family, but you don't really want to have them over for dinner. Like, I wouldn't want to sit around with them.
But isn't it funny how I see them
Yes.
differently? You know, like they
Yes.
still look the same. They still look creepy, but like I want to be their friends now. I don't want to.
Imagine if you
You
did
know
have
what I
them
mean?
over for
Like-
dinner the whole time. You'd be like, "Go get me a glass of water."
Well, not if they were unassimilated.
No, I think they still would.
I'd be
They're
asking if
just
they want a
nice.
handkerchief for that thing.
Okay, the one thing I wanted to mention is Ood Sigma is played by Paul Casey, and he has great body language without being able to like talk. And we've seen him in other things like he's the cyber leader, he's Hoix, he's a Sladine, the Jadoon captain, an Auton, the Clockwork Man, the Santa robot, one of the hosts, and one of the pigmen. So he's
Wow.
been in everything that we've seen so far.
He's like Doctor Who's Doug Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give him credit because he does a
Yeah,
great job.
He does a great
Yeah.
job.
The Planet of the Ood. Who is this episode good for? Or this episode is good for who? A new viewer, a casual viewer, a fan of the show, or a diehard?
Let's see. I'm kind of right now between new and casual because I do really like this episode, but I think a new person might think it's a little too silly. But no, I'm going to stick with a new viewer. I think it shows you a good example of what the Doctor does. Companion's great, and there's a lot for kids.
I say new. I think there's enough in here. I think there's not enough. There's not a ton of references of things that we wouldn't know about, and what there is, you find out later. I think it's a fun episode that's weird, and even the silly bits that we talked about, like the claw and the brain, it's part of Doctor Who, and I think they handle it well. And it's a weird enough episode that I think is interesting for someone to watch and go, "What the heck is this all about?" But if I saw this fresh, I would say that and be intrigued and want to see more. And I think the Doctor and Donna are great together in this.
I'm gonna have to say casual, just because I don't know if I would. I think it's just how I feel about the way futuristic episodes. I don't want to just be that as the first thing that people see.
I think I would agree and say casual as well, just because, like, I would not see myself showing this to somebody to introduce them to Doctor Who, but it is Donna, so I can't take it too far away from the new viewer. So casual.
I'm gonna not let my opinion on this episode reflect how I categorize it, but I am going to share my opinion. This is not one of my favorite episodes. I don't really particularly like this episode. I like that it made me change how I see the Ood, and I like the moment with the natural born Ood and hearing their song of captivity, because that is a scene that has stuck with me. So I'm going to say casual, because I think you would enjoy it if you were casually watching through. I hope you would enjoy it. Like, I personally, in my own personal categorization, I put this in fan, because like it's not one of those ones that I want to watch again. And when it's funny, because when I do watch it again, I remember at first I'm like, oh, I think I like this episode. I start watching, I'm like, oh no, I don't like this episode. And then I get to that captivity scene and I'm like, oh, this is why I think I like this episode. But because so many people like it, then maybe it will be good for casual viewers as well. So I'm going to say casual.
I agree somewhat with Arlene in that you were saying you didn't want to show this as the first episode to somebody. But I think if somebody was new and this is what you're watching or on, I think it's fine for somebody who hasn't seen it before and is a new viewer. I think it's pretty much a standalone. You know, it's like we do know the Ood was before, but that doesn't affect what's going on here. So, but I think a new viewer, everybody. It's not one I would choose to show somebody as the new one, not in the top few, but I think it's fine for everybody.
For me, it's a new viewer as well, because you get an old alien that's not a villain that comes back, and your perceptions are changed about them. And I think that lends itself to kind of what we're going through in society right now, where we have to open up our minds to sort of see something that's different and not fear it. Reach out to understand rather than act with violence. So I think that message was really good for kids. And then what really cements this episode for me is the Song of Freedom. I just really like that piece of music. So without this episode, I don't think we would have that piece of music. I don't have a lot of notes for this episode because I just found myself watching it and enjoying it. So that wraps up the Planet of the Ood. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time when the future becomes the present.
You've just listened to an episode of Who Knew?
Our wonderful theme music is by Michael Grady.
Find him on Facebook at The Universe Explodes.
All our episodes are engineered by Auburn.
Find him at auburnbinkley.com.
You can find this show in several places.
Follow us on Twitter at Who Knew Podcast.
Subscribe, review, and listen to us on iTunes and Stitcher.
Or our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Who Knew Podcast.
Comment on our Facebook page.
As always, leave comments, reviews, and click like to help support Who Knew Podcast.
Also listen to us on your Amazon Echo by enabling a podcast skill.
All our episodes are on whoknewpodcast.com.
This podcast is inspired by Doctor Who.
The longest running sci-fi show in history.
And especially the revival spearheaded by Russell T. Davis.
Thanks to Russell.
Sydney Newman,
Verity Lambert.
Ron Grainer.
And all those involved in the adventures of our favorite Time Lord.
your work continues to inspire and entertain.
There was that missing episode where they find out the Ood are actually the Odd, but they're from Canada.
I'll get you that cricket sound effects, Eugene.
What's that about?
I'm not in the mood for ood jokes.
Yeah, but you're dead inside.
Stop it.
I did cry in that last episode.
You did.
No,
Not here.
no, I agree with you, John.
Never in public.
Never in public. Then I'd have to kill you. I agree
The
with
Song
that.
of Freedom.
By George Michael.
Not that.
No, not that one. Oh.
Let's get a clean in for that.
I wonder, like, maybe the next story will be there's this one dude who wants to be like a comedian, so he draws like a face on the brain.
Like a ventriloquist?
Yes.
It's like this, just.
Yes. In a planet of many, one stood out.
One dared to stand out and stand up.
Hey, what do you think?